Hey Beach and 1122, I think it's time I addressed the two churches separately. I am going to get to the bottom of this life group, discipleship group thing today because we've been getting some emails. Everybody hears kind of the differences, but we're going to go straight to the source. We are going to go do some interviews and figure this out from the top. Ready, set, let's go. All right, so I'm here with Leslie Greer. She's going to be the life groups minister here at Beach. And I just want you to tell us a little bit about what life groups are going to look like and what life groups are.
We really feel at Beach that it's very important, as Pastor Jerry says, that you are not intended to do life alone. And this is the way that really is kind of the heart and soul of fellowship and of growing the faith walk. You know, you come into the church, you love what you're hearing, you see what God's doing, so what's next? Our hope is that you'll take the step and you'll join a life group. Life groups are, one, it provides you just a Christian base of peers to really just help hold you accountable, to encourage you, just to be there for you in life's good times and life's not so good times. But most importantly, it provides you just a really authentic, amazing way to further your relationship with Christ, to deepen your walk with Christ through studying His Word with other Christians and with other peers. So those are really, that's kind of what life groups are, what the purpose of life groups are.
Very cool. Okay, so from the emails and the stuff I've been reading about the life groups, I read about these 6 to 8 week starter groups, starter life groups. Can you explain some of that to me?
Yeah, our plan is to have these starter groups that we're going to call them, and they'll kind of rotate on maybe, every semester or so is kind of when we'll do them. We plan to have a few at a time. Like this summer we started as the trial period with 3 different ones. They're short-term life groups or starter groups. They meet 6 to 8 weeks. Each group, it'll be either topical or targeted at a demographic. They have a set study. And they will have a set leader too that's already been trained, already prepared to do this. They'll meet for 6 to 8 weeks. We'll go into these groups knowing that at the end of the 6 to 8 weeks, and when the study concludes, the people in the group have the option of continuing on as a life group. And so it's kind of a plan to continuously birth new life groups and give anybody who walks into the church and is ready to plug into a group an opportunity to do so in a bunch of different ways.
Very cool. So it'll be easy for new people to come into Beach and plug right into a small group at any time of the year. One more question. How are we going to decide on these leaders? How can the leader volunteer for these life group leadership positions?
We would love to have leaders. So if it's an interest of someone or a calling or a spiritual gift, we will train you so it's not like you're walking into it blindly. And it's actually a pretty easy thing to do. It is 6 to 8 weeks, so it gives the leaders an opportunity to know the start and end date, and then they can step away at the end. We want them to help identify within the group of people over the course of the 6 to 8 weeks, who would be really ideal and stellar leaders to lead the group, like once it's moved past the starter group phase. So it kind of gives you a continuous rotation of just creating life groups, creating leaders, and moving forward into the future. So.
Very cool. Well, that is the Beach side of life groups. Now we are going to go find someone to take care of this discipleship group question for 1122. So we will see you in a few minutes.
I feel like I'm praying for your counseling year or something.
Are we started?
Yeah.
That's the song?
Yes.
Hey, I am Ryan Sweat. Again, this is the other Ryan S. This is Ryan Stone.
Often confused.
Ryan Stone, you used to be our student pastor at Beach. What do you do right now?
Well, I am in transition right now at Beach. I'm the pastor of ministry initiatives, which means I'm behind the scenes on the launch, and I'm moving into the role of lead ministries pastor at the Church of 1122, which is kind of a coaching director of ministry position.
Okay, and so now let's talk about this discipleship group thing. The discipleship groups, what are they? What is their purpose? How are they different?
Yeah, well, there's a command in the Bible. Jesus said, "Go make disciples." And we believe discipleship happens best organically, but we realize that in the movement of the church, we need to create those environments. So disciple groups are the environments that we're going to create that's going to involve teaching a sound doctrine, the caring of each other. It's a weekly group Bible study where the focus is making disciples.
Okay, and so I've seen these weird terms thrown around, and I think a lot of people may be a little bit confused by them. We have these master teachers. Master teachers. What are the master teachers, and who are they?
Oh, awesome. A master teacher either means one thing. You've mastered teaching, which is not what it means at the Church 1122, or it means we are going to place people with the gifts of teaching in each group, and we're going to have a master teaching coming off of the sermon, written into curriculum, and those teachers in each group, and we're training them up right now and through the fall, those teachers will teach to the group that teaching portion. They'll facilitate the teaching and then facilitate the conversation on the backside.
Okay, and caregiver. Is it caregiver?
Yeah, disciple,
Caregiver.
Caretaker sounds a little too much like a funeral home, and we're going to stay away from that. Caregiver is this: if we have someone leading the group whose primary gift is teaching, and they're focusing on the teaching of the Word, we want to pair alongside them a partner who will be focused on giving care to group members. Everything from celebrating a birthday to showing up at the hospital to informing the staff, hey, this person in our group's in this part of life and how can we help them. So each group will have someone who their point job is to make sure that we are taking care of our body, our community.
Okay, and one more question, and I don't know if there is an answer to this, but is there a timeline on these discipleship groups? Is it permanent? Is it 8 to 12 months?
As we're launching them, there's a couple of timelines. One, we're going to be in a season of training the leaders during the fall, and then in January we'll be officially launching disciple groups at the Church of 1122. We're still in some of the working on how those work. Our motto is going to be reproduce so we don't saturate. And so the model of groups that we're going to use is every leader and every teacher and every caregiver will have in their group an apprentice that they'll train up, and then as we do onboarding and add more groups, they'll be open. As groups grow to a certain size, then those groups will be reproduced. And so there'll probably be a little bit of organic where a group reaches 20, 30, and we make 3 groups out of that group. And then there will be some systematic by semester, here's the onboarding, and in those times we will intentionally create new groups. And so it's not necessarily your group lasts this long, it's our goal for your group is to reproduce, and that your one group would become 2, 3, 4 groups, so that we never have a saturation problem where people can't get into groups because groups are closed and not growing.
Okay. Well, very cool. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I love you.
I love you too.